an emergency meeting of the National Security Council, which was held at the behest of Mr. President. We've just concluded the meeting, and the meeting basically was to discuss recent happenings within the FCT and certain declarations and alerts coming from various quarters, insinuating growing insecurity and threat to security within the FCT and environs. Before I round up, I want to call on the Chief of Defense Staff to say one or two things, and then my colleagues to speak, and then I'll round up. Thank you. CDS.
Thank you, sir. Just to also indicate that, as mentioned by the National Security Advisor, to use the opportunity to assure Nigerians that the armed forces, the police, and other security agencies are working around the clock to ensure that lives and properties of Nigerians are protected. And so far, there's no cause for alarm, and Nigerians should go about their normal duties as the armed forces and all the security agencies are well poised to protect them accordingly. Perhaps to use this opportunity to mention that I'm sure some of you may have seen in the media or amongst you that on the 9th of 29th October 2022, Wawa cantonment in Niger State was attacked. And of course, the alertness of the troops led to the neutralization of the attackers and their vehicles that were laden with IED and other items were impounded, and 5 of those attackers were equally arrested. Just to let you know, to use that to let you know of the level of alertness of members of the armed forces, the police, and other security agencies. Thank you.
There's a foreign dimension to this issue, as alerts were obviously issued by foreign countries with missions here in Nigeria. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, have been working very closely and to fully get on top of the situation, but also to engage with our foreign partners. First of all, to mitigate and blunt any threat that there could be from outside the country, but also working with and engaging with the foreign missions within the country to ensure that whatever we do, whatever we say is constructive and should not in any way cause unnecessary alarm and in any way destabilize the country. So just to reassure the country that we are in full engagement with foreign partners and that the security, our security personnel and agencies are fully on top of the situation, and that they're really, as they have said, there's really no cause for alarm. And we want to push more for greater coordination and synergy with also our foreign partners, and make sure that cooperation with them is a constructive one and not an alarmist one. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good morning, gentlemen of the press. Normally, it's unusual for me to speak to the press. I don't do that. But this is, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs has said, has a great deal of foreign dimension, and I'm here to join in supporting what the Minister of Foreign Affairs has said, what the CDS has said, and what the NSA is going to say. And this is to say that Nigerians should actually remain calm. Situation is under control. There is nothing new. And that, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs has said, we will continue. We will continue to engage our partners in the most constructive way. We are indeed actually expanding, because this is a demand of the situation of the current times, to engage, to expand partnership, foreign partnership, and to work with countries, friends, associates, and to deal with situations, challenges that actually are not common to Nigeria, cross-border issues, and so that our country, our people should remain safe, and our region, and for also global peace and security. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In rounding up, I would like to first and foremost assure all the citizens of this country that any exaggerated sense of insecurity, any hype about a disintegration of our security forces, intelligence agencies, is unfounded. I want to assure Nigerians that so far the situation has been under control. The intelligence and security agencies have made a lot of arrests. They're evaluating, they're exploiting all the materials in their possession. We are not in the habit of disclosing whatever has been done. But the most important thing is that from the time these stories started emerging until now, about a week to 10 days, you can see that so far the situation has been brought under control. The issue of Nigerians being made to panic is unnecessary. The situation in various areas of the Federal Capital Territory, the situation has been brought under control. And we're trying as much as possible to work with our neighbors and within the domestic situation to work with our foreign partners in a responsible way, without giving the impression that Nigeria is skating on thin ice and we're about to implode. That I would want to dispel any illusion about any heightened sense of insecurity. It is false, it is irresponsible for anybody to give that signal. We're working with our foreign partners in a responsible way, and Nigerians should go about their normal daily undertakings without being put in a situation of fear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. First question first. Is it the norm for the U.S. to make such a pronouncement? Now, we engaged the U.S. on this, and their response was that they are obliged to put out those kinds of statements, normally travel advisories, but in this case it was an alert, but they said that they are obliged to for their citizens, and that the advice, the alert was really for their citizens, that they do it around the world. As you know, they did it also in South Africa in this particular case. But of course, we are used to US travel alerts, travel advisories, as the DJ NIA drew that distinction between the two. And so they said for them it's a constitutional obligation. So that's their position. And of course, on our side, coming to the next question from Arise about coordination and how. But this also, I think, answers the first question and the second question. We want to, ordinarily would have liked to have been able to coordinate with them, because as you can see, a lot of panic has been spread. So you have to look at the purpose of this kind of an announcement. And then you also have to look at intelligence sharing and, the best use you can make of, shared intelligence, and strike that balance. So the coordination I'm talking about is about messaging, how you get the message across, the narratives that we put out there, and also while at the same time, reassuring other foreign missions and so forth of the steps that are being taken by our security services and so forth. So in other words, the coordination we look at it as we should all be on the same side. These are our partners. We should all be working together to address common threats and common challenges, and to do that effectively. And I think coming back to that first question, we don't want to take each other by surprise, because then we begin to defeat the purpose, of the whole exercise. Third question was about which foreign partners are we working with. All the foreign partners, all the missions that are represented here in Nigeria to start with, because we as a country have the prime responsibility to safeguard the diplomats who are residing in our country and to ensure their security. And so we have to engage with all these foreign partners. And also with the security threats that we face as a country, we have a lot of partners that are working with us to address those security challenges, right across the country. So so it's really all our friends, essentially, that we are working with there, all our foreign partners in this case. On the issue of British Airways, my understanding actually is that those flights were not because of the alerts, or that particular flight was not diverted to Lagos or cancelled because of the alert, but it had been done before, and a lot of it has to do with, as you know, the ongoing issue with foreign airlines. So it's in that context and not in the context of security alert, to my knowledge, and I understand this is the case. And of course, then the fifth question was what kind of cooperation are we talking about with the US? As you know, the US is a partner in the fight against terrorism, and so our cooperation with the US is very comprehensive and very cross-cutting, so there's all kinds of cooperation. It really is comprehensive, our cooperation with the U.S. and it's it's a cooperation that we value and that we will and that we should continue to promote. And what engagement is it specifically? I think I've sort of answered that as well. The level of our engagement is across the board. Right up from sharing intelligence, we engage on that, and the emphasis that we should put in different areas. And but ultimately, as I said, it's also important not to create panic within the country, as I mentioned earlier. That is the messaging, and so for us to work together, not to defeat the purpose of what we're trying to achieve, which is full security in our country, and for all of us to work towards that with our partners and with ourselves, and not to work at cross purposes. And of course, creating panic in our country will have all kinds of multiplier effects, and especially if we feel that the intelligence does not also warrant that. So, so this is it. Thank you.
Yes, you wanted some clarification on the arrests that I referred to. Yes, arrests have been made. You must remember that Nigeria has been engaged in an asymmetric conflict for quite a number of years. And the arrests I'm talking about are not necessarily in relation to the alerts that were issued by the US Embassy. These are in relation basically to ongoing operations being conducted by the Nigerian Armed Forces, intelligence and security agencies. Now, I mentioned that just to allay fears that these people, these organizations have continuously been on their toes. They've continuously engaged other entities, other groups, and this has resulted in arrest of several elements, not necessarily associated with this alert, but with the various cells in different parts of the country. So this is just to illustrate the fact that the security agencies have been doing their work, and there's no need for people to be made to panic unnecessarily. There was another question that someone asked. Sorry? Yes, but you don't expect me to divulge some of this information because these are ongoing investigations. People are being exploited, in relation to the ongoing operations. Well, I don't know what the IG said, but I'm just telling you what I know as a national security advisor. The intelligence agencies, the defense and security law enforcement agencies have continuously made arrests. And it's not just a matter of the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 months. For the last couple of years, they've been engaging these entities, and they've been using every opportunity to get as accurate a picture of the security situation as possible.
So, first, don't you think Nigerians would want to know, since this alert was raised, you are saying now that citizens should be calm, shouldn't worry about that, security agents are stubborn. Don't you think Nigerians would want to know?
Yemi, the alert was targeted at the citizens of the United States residing in Nigeria in Abuja, not at the larger Nigerian society. Now, if that thing has cascaded to give a different impression, coloration, there's nothing anybody can do. The damage, whether it is intended or unintended, the damage has been done. People's minds have been, attuned to a state of insecurity, which is quite bad. There's nothing we can do. If the U.S. Embassy has gone out to give an advisory to its citizens and it has also affected other people. But what I want you to know is that the advisory was issued to their citizens. As far as we are concerned, our own citizens are not in peril.
So is it correct to say that this alert issued by the U.S. citizens was a false one as we actually yesterday? It was a false alert. Why would they issue false alerts to the citizens in Nigeria in Abuja, as you specified?
Also, the reason I asked the question I asked is to be sure whether U.S. got across to Nigeria to share intelligence on what they knew before they went ahead with their.
We've been sharing intelligence with not just the U.S., but with other partners. And we've been acting on the intelligence we've been working. Has anything happened so far? No, nothing has happened. But they went ahead to issue this advisory to their people. And of course, the connotations are there. They could have various reasons for doing that. This is the first time it is happening. Come on, it's the first time it is happening. Where also, I don't have that crystal ball to know what is working, the workings of their mind, but the truth is that the alert was for their own citizens. Probably the way in which it was released became complicated at the end of the day.
Because some people are giving, some people are actually translating this to mean something else. They are towards an election period and they are coming with something that is capable of setting off, that's actually setting off panic.
These are conjectures. There's nothing, that is specific. You are right. There will be a lot of interpretations of this alert. It is an unnecessary distraction. As far as we are concerned, The safety, the security of Nigerians is paramount, and as far as we know, there's nothing untoward so far. Nigerians should be allowed to go about their legitimate undertakings without being put in a tight spot. The country is safe, Abuja is safe, the security elements are doing the best that they can. That is the most important thing. So finally, to round up, we just want you to understand the situation. There is no need to, aggravate a situation that is not that dire. Nigerians should please not allow themselves, because at the end of the day, it will disrupt everything, economic, whatever, people going to school and so on and so forth. The important thing is for you to realize that that alert had a different purpose. Thank you.